Well, good afternoon and welcome to the first County Office of Education Universal Design for Learning Network. We're happy that you all are interested in participating and joining us with us on this journey. So my name is Rhonda Marriott, and I am a coordinator with the Orange County Department of Education, and my partner in crime, Pam Tuppy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pam Tuppy. I'm a coordinator here at OCDE for Inclusive Instructional Practices. And Rhonda and I are actually in the same room. So we're trying to mute and unmute so we don't have feedback. So anyway, we're really excited that you could join us here today. And Rhonda's going to take it away and just go over our norms for our time together.
Great.
All right. Thank you, Pam. And so while we do want to make this a true network, I mean, this is not going to be just one county office just monopolizing and taking the lead on this. We do want it to be a shared participation and shared roles and responsibilities. And so we'll kind of go through that and what kind of some thoughts that we had. This kind of all started out of a conversation between Pam, myself, and James McKenna with the Los Angeles County Office of Education. And basically just kind of discovering, hey, what's going on in your county and what's going on in ours. And then we thought, wow, this would be great considering that UDL is becoming so much more districts and counties are becoming so much more interested and really understanding the value and the importance of UDL. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity to open it up throughout the state and to see what does everybody else have going on. And so I think this is a wonderful opportunity. So we're excited that you would like to participate. So very quickly, just some norms that we were kind of thinking of. We're hoping that everybody will engage in the conversations. Of course, when you're using Zoom, you can go into the chat box, and if you have a comment or a question about something, you're welcome to pop it right in there, and then we can monitor that and answer those questions as we go along. And again, we would like it if we all could share in the roles and responsibilities. So when we talk about future meetings and at the end of today's call, we can actually go ahead and determine what will that look like. And so we'll see who would like to take on those facilitation roles. And as we go in through, maybe looking at next year as we do that. And then just for purposes of quality of this call and the recording, it would be better if you can mute your cell phone or your computer until you're ready to add into the conversation. So that's just going to make the quality better. So we are recording this, and then we can share that into the shared folder so everybody can have access to it, and then those that can't participate can have access to it at a later time. So with that said, some of our outcomes that we're hoping, as we mentioned, is looking at what are best practices that are happening around UDL throughout the state. So we want to be able to share those and learn and grow from each other. And then also we're going to capitalize on the expertise from all of the participants that are participating with this call to what is happening, how are you implementing UDL within your county, and what are things that are really working. So in order to do that, for this to be a true network, we have created a shared folder. So the link right there is on the slide, and it's a shortened bit.ly. So once you click on that, it should be anyone with the link can view it. So go ahead and I'll come back to it, but I do want to take you right there to that shared folder. And so once you click on it or once you access that link, it looks like this. And so right now we just have a few things in there. The first item is our meeting number 1, and we'll get to that in just a moment. And then, of course, we have today's presentation that's going to kind of lead or support our conversations. And then we have this COE UDL Network planning document. And so this is what we used actually during our first conversation between Orange County and Laco, and then to support with this the planning of today's call. And so probably this would be something that we might want to use, pardon me, in our future ones. And so you'll see at the very top, we have some bookmarks. And so if you just click on that, then it'll take us to each meeting and then the thoughts around that, and to kind of get those, the conversations and the planning around that. And then finally, we do have a meeting roles and participants. And so based on your response to the survey that I sent out, all of those names of the individuals that expressed an interest to join in on this call, they are listed here. And so you can go on there, and please, I believe that this is made, anyone with the link can edit. So be careful of what you are editing, because we want to make sure that we're just editing our own items. So if something is not correct, please feel free to update that. And that's going to support us as we all move forward in this UDL network. And you'll see at the very top of this, we have some meeting roles. As again, we feel that this would be best if this was a shared responsibility throughout our state. And so here we have meeting number 1, and then Pam and I will take on the lead as facilitators for Orange County, and then we'll also serve as the note takers for this. And then at the end of this call, we can begin talking about who would like to take on the role of facilitator and note taker for our second meeting and then beyond. And so we'll kind of give you a little chance to think about that. All right. So with that said, I will hand it over to Pam.
Thanks, Rhonda. So we are really glad that you carved some time out of your busy schedule to join us today and to brainstorm how this network can really meet all of our needs. So what we'd like to do in a second is have everybody introduce themselves. We'd like you to share with us your name, what county office you are from, and then a goal that you have for our network meetings. So if you go ahead and just take about 20 to 30 seconds to think about that, and then I'll go ahead and start and model that. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I'm Pam Tuppy, and I'm a coordinator here at the Orange County Department of Education with Rhonda, and I'm a coordinator of inclusive instructional practices. I am excited about this. A goal I have for our network meetings is I'd love it if we could learn from one another what we're doing around UDL already, what's worked, what problems our districts and school sites are having with implementation, and really just learn from one another. So I'm going to kind of facilitate this by looking at my on my screen who is sort of next in line. So I'll let you know who I see, and if you're calling from a number, I'll just say whoever has this number, so that you can just unmute yourself and go ahead and introduce yourself. So we'll go ahead and start with Rhonda.
Thank you. So again, my name is Rhonda Marriott, and I'm also with the Orange County Department of Education, and I am the coordinator for academic interventions. And I have the pleasure, in addition to scaling up multi-tiered system of support in Orange County, but I also support San Diego and LA Unified and the Region 7, which includes Fresno, Kings County, Tulare, Merced, and Madera. And then I am also lucky to that my colleague Pam has brought me along under her wing to work with the UDL implementation within our county. So I'm happy to do that. And I think a goal for this network is to be able to learn from others throughout the state on what you're doing to support UDL implementation throughout your county, and then how we can all begin to support each other with those efforts.
Great, thank you, Rhonda. So I'm just going to go ahead and see who's next to Rhonda here in my lineup. I see J.M. Colley. Could you unmute yourself and go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what a goal is that you have for this network?
Hi, I'm Jennifer McCauley from the Mendocino County Office of Education.
Hi, Jennifer.
Good morning. My goal would be kind of common, documents, trainings, whatever, because I know we've done some work, our SELP has done some work, we've done some work, but I'm not sure it's common, right? We're saying the exact same message. So it'd be nice to have kind of a common, this is what we're saying. And then also, we've been interested in trying to bring in, an outside trainer, but we have limited funding. So maybe some kind of regional, hey, you know, we could have this trainer in and people could come to a training, that would be great.
Okay, great. So a lot of ideas of sharing resources specifically to documents and trainings, and having a common message. Thank you so much. I see a phone number on the next, as my next person here, 1-559-799-2559. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself? If you're there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Megan. Would you be able to unmute yourself and introduce yourself and a goal that you have for our network?
Hi, my name is Megan Jameson. I'm from the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. I'm a math consultant working with primarily grades 3 through high school. So I do a lot of professional development and always trying to incorporate the UDL strategies. So a goal for this network is to really just kind of see what other county offices are doing and just see some best practices for me to help get that out there to all of the teachers that I work with.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, you're up next. Would you and your colleague like to introduce yourselves and the goal you have?
Hi, everyone. My name is Fred Cochran. I'm a coordinator at San Joaquin County Office of Education, and I'm sitting here with...
Hi, I'm Sally Gleasing, the director here at San Joaquin County Office of Education.
Hi.
Hey, we're really happy to be part of the network. Sally and I are, co-facilitators of MTSS for Region 6. And one of the needs that she and I have, or goals that we've identified, is the fact that we really need to offer support in the area of universal design of learning. So we are starting out by working with our KDS district, which is, the whole district is MTSS. So we're starting with trainings this summer with them. So we're right in the infancy approach of starting this work in our county.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, Fred and Sally. Mary, would you go ahead and introduce yourself? Mary Young.
Hi.
Yeah, oh, great. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm from San Mateo County Office of Education, and my role is induction coordinator. I became involved in MTSS last year with some of our KDS sites, and so my interest in joining this network is to find out what everyone else is doing, and hopefully be able to incorporate some of that with the staff here. Right now, we're just doing some training around UDL, so I'm kind of curious what everyone else is doing.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Mary. Next up, we see M. Norby. M. Norby, would you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Missy Morgan from the County Office of Ed. I have here with me Lisa Butler and Chrissy Hess. We are interested in seeing what counties are doing.
Oh, it's kind of hard to hear you. Are you on speakerphone?
No, I'm on a computer.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. I'll reintroduce myself again. My name is Misty Morby with Modoc County Office of Ed. I'm the Director of Student Educational Services, and I have here with me Lisa Butler and Chrissy Hess, who are both professional learning coaches.
Okay.
And we're really interested in knowing more about UDL, what other counties are doing, and where we should start.
Okay. It sounds like we're hearing a lot. We all have some really common goals, which is great that we're overlapping. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see, Lisa Lemus.
Hi. Hi, my name is Lisa Lemus, yes, from Tulare County Office of Education, and I get the privilege of working with a small implementation team here at Tulare County Office of Ed. There's 3 of us, my colleague Jamie Lopes, who I don't think she can unmute herself, so I'll speak for her, and another colleague of mine, Joe Martinez. We have been supporting districts and we are starting to develop our UDL series of workshops that we're going to offer next year. And so we're building capacity at the county level right now for the work. And so we're excited to get the work started. And our goal is in the network is to just stay connected with the work that's happening statewide. I think our goals are aligned with your goals as well. So nice to meet you all.
Great, thank you so much. Christine, would you be able to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to us?
Yes, can you
Thank
hear me?
you. Yes.
Great. I'm Christine Yannon, and I work with the Humboldt County Del Norte SELPA. I'm the Assistive Technology Specialist, and myself and Wendy Turk, who I don't think joined us for the call, have been doing a lot of workshops on UDL in our SELPA area. There isn't really a point person in our county office, but we're housed within that, so here I am. My goal would be just to, like everybody else's, get information, see what other people are doing, help provide guidance and direction to our county office, as well as getting some resources for teachers to really implement after workshops.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Christine.
Glad to be here.
Pamela. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Pamela, would you be able to introduce yourself?
Yes, we just unmuted. I'm here with my colleague Erin Freeman, but she'll introduce herself in a moment. I'm the Director of English Language Arts, English Learner Services, and History here at Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. And we have actually been immersed in UDL. I shouldn't say immersed. We have been learning and growing and incorporating UDL into our professional learning for the last 2 years. But we're ready to take the next step and be sure we're aligned with others in the state who are doing this. And I would say a particular goal of mine, I'm on the Belief ELA ELD subcommittee, and we are designing a new module for students with special needs, including English learners. Obviously that connects to English learners. So we're very interested in the connection of how UDL provides opportunities for English learners as a more specific goal, as well as other goals that everyone has mentioned.
Thank you for sharing that, and also connecting to the Belief modules. We're really involved in that down here in Orange County. I'm sure you work with our colleagues as well, and the Belief modules have been a great place to kind of overlap a lot of this, which has been great to see. Next, Emmanuel, would the two of you be able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Lorna, and with me is
Jackie Roach.
Hi.
From Tehama County. So kind of similar to Fresno, we've been incorporating universal design for learning professional development trainings for about the last year and a half. We've specifically been working with districts, and part of why we want to be here is to get some further resources to kind of continue the path. And we're looking at ELD as well, but also specific to different content areas. What are some resources that we can use for history, for science? Some of that.
They should have done this already. They could have put out a survey.
Oh, hey, I think that someone unmuted themselves.
So that's where I'm coming from. So Jackie may want to add something.
No, I think she covered it. We're just happy to see what other folks are doing throughout the state and making connections.
Great, thank you so much for that. Next, I see J.M. Colley. Are you able to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hey, I already did.
Oh, you did. Okay,
I was
thanks.
second. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks.
I think when I moved, my lineup reordered a bit. Erin Freeman, you're next. I think your colleague already introduced herself.
Yes, so I'm Erin Freeman from the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, and I'm a ELA ELD consultant. So like Pam mentioned, seeing the overlap between ELs and UDL. So similar goals. One thing that has stood out to me in our county as I've introed UDL with teachers is they already feel like they have so much on their plate. And so one goal I have that I haven't heard mentioned yet is the engagement piece for teachers, and how I see the need for it, and they might see the need for it, but then taking that next step to really put the time and effort into making their classroom a UDL classroom. So what best practices teachers and consultants and people working in education may have found around that. So it's not just educating our teachers, but really putting it into place so it affects our students.
Great, good point, Erin. Thank you so much for sharing. The last person I see is Jamie, but I'm wondering if that's the same Jamie that was introduced by her colleague earlier. So I guess at this point, if Jamie is not that Jamie, or if there's anyone that I missed, can you introduce yourself? So we'll just wait a moment if there's someone I missed. Okay, great. Looks like we got everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. Rhonda and I felt like it was really important just because, we are in different places and we may have had some work that overlaps, but we wanted to take the time for everybody to really share a goal for this network, since really it can be built into whatever we want it to be. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the next slide. A few of you have already connected to this in terms of where you're at with your county, but what we'd like to do is have a 2 to 3 minutes where we'll just all mute ourselves and kind of just do some reflective brainstorming with your colleague or by yourself. We have a shared Google Doc that we'd like to capture some of the highlights that some of you already mentioned. So if you click on the link that's on the slide, or it's actually just in the folder, Rhonda will go ahead and click on what she has open. We'd like to take 2 to 3 minutes to have you use this shared document to just list, oh awesome, Mary's already in there, just list your name and your county. You could type your network goal again to just kind of capture that in a snapshot, but really spend a few minutes talking about, or writing about, reflecting on what UDL in your county currently looks like, so we can have this working document together. So a few of you are already in there. That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so that you have some quiet time to just do that, and we'll come back together in about 3 minutes. So let's take about 1 more minute. If you're done early, you can go ahead and start looking at the responses from your colleagues. We're going to look at some patterns and trends in just a moment.
It's not all the pop ones.
No, it's not the schools either. Unfortunately, I would really like that to be my favorite.
Okay, so it looks like most of us are finishing up. And what would be great right now is if you can take a moment or two to start looking at the document. Maybe you've already been doing that, but what we'd like to do now is have a conversation about what you're noticing. So based on the goals that we just talked about that we have individually, what and where we are in implementation in our various stages across the state, what patterns and trends are we seeing related to the work that we've done so far? And anyone can chime in at this point. You can just unmute yourself and we can just have a conversation about what we're starting to notice. We've got Mary chatting with all of us. It looks like many of us are looking at UDL training. Definitely a pattern. And you can unmute yourself too if you want to talk. And Rhonda, you can too. I'll just have to mute myself and my computer.
This is Fred. I just wanted to say I was over the Christmas, I did a lot of research on UDL and found that the CAST website was a great resource to get me started so that I, and of course, we also have had Katie Novak here to present UDL at our curriculum breakfasts. So I'm just excited that there's a lot of things out there, but it's just knowing that we're putting things together the right way, I guess. Sure that, you know, we don't overload teachers, because I was listening to someone contributing today on the fact that we have to get buy-in from teachers to get this to work. So making it as applicable and practical as possible is really important.
I think that's a great point, Fred. And I want to echo what you were saying in terms of you've had Katie to your district, or your region rather. And I'm really encouraged by the fact that so many of us that are starting here are working directly with CAST or some of their cadre, whether it be Katie Novak or Louis Lord Nelson or any of those other sort of speakers that they have that have, you know, been writing a lot of their materials. So one of the things Rhonda and I really appreciate is how the MTSS work has really kind of created a foundation for looking at UDL as the instructional framework. That's the next step for a lot of our regions. And we're so heartened by the fact that CAST has been involved with so many of us. So that, I think, gets back to what someone mentioned earlier, that common message. And I kind of feel like as we look at the trends that's here, it would be something that we could start thinking about. Are there common documents we want to develop? Or are there just, lessons learned that we can share in future meetings that can really guide our network calls? Other thoughts or ideas?
I'll jump in.
Okay. Rhonda's going to jump in, so I'm going to mute myself here.
Yes, and I would also like to add that within our own county office, we are really working to increase that understanding and awareness around UDL. And so we've had the opportunity to share with our entire instructional services division, really defining UDL and really thinking about, what does that look like when you're creating a professional learning opportunity and presenting a professional learning opportunity, and then actually modeling those UDL principles to make sure that it's a very engaging presentation, that participants have many opportunities to engage in it and then different ways that we're presenting it. And so that's one way that we've also begun to increase that awareness around UDL.
This is Pam and Aaron from Fresno, and Megan can join in if she wishes. Last year, when the team went in summer.
I'd like to share some interesting observations, or maybe even this is a good time to ask questions about something that you've seen that somebody has listed regarding what they're doing within their county. This would be a good opportunity to truly make it a network.
Hi, this is Pam and Aaron from Fresno. Can you hear us?
Pam, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
When a small team first went to CAS for training 2 summers ago, we came back and our entire curriculum and instruction team, which encompasses our instructional technology group, our visual and performing arts, STEM, ELA.
I love the way the individuals are really engaging with this actual document. So commenting in there, so you can see Mary's comment around there. And yes, I think we're always, we're growing around what we are doing to support our LEAs. And it's a constantly evolving process, which I think is an okay place to be.
So this is Lorna Manuel from Tehama County. One of the things that we wanted to share was we did do a 5-part training during collaboration time with one of our local high schools, and they had
I think Emmanuel is talking, but we cannot hear you. I'm sorry. Are you?
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Oh yeah, maybe in chat.
Can you hear me?
Why didn't I get to go?
I can hear you.
Thanks,
Or I should be doing it.
I know it's.
Can you hear me now?
The directors need to be the ones doing it.
Okay, I unmuted you, but for some reason we still can't hear you. Want to try one more time?
Yeah.
How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, Mary can hear us.
Mary can hear us. Megan can hear us. I'm not sure who can't hear us.
San Joaquin is able to hear us. Christine can hear us. Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now. For some reason, Rhonda's computer's sound isn't working, but mine is, and so now I'm talking. Rhonda might have to just jump over here and get on my computer if she's talking. Okay, what were you saying? Sorry.
You might want to go back to Fresno County because I don't think they were done, but
okay.
We'll just really quickly, we worked with a high school district this year that was very resistant and felt like it was kind of a training that was top down and given to them. But really by the end, I would say probably by about the 3rd training, they were really engrossed in it and we did some things, quite a bit of stuff with technology around UDL and different apps, and they were really excited to share through Google Slides and Flipgrid and some other ways that they shared with their own colleagues. And so that was really kind of a great aha for us, because once we got them sharing with each other, it's like they kind of forgot about, that their administration had asked to have this training.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. In Fresno, did we miss your comment? Would you mind saying that again?
Yes, when our small team that went to CAST came back in summer of 2016, we decided as a curriculum and instruction group, which included instructional technology, visual and performing arts, ELA, ELD, history, STEM, even our data folks, our accountability folks, we all did a book study with UDL Now.
Great.
And we offered different opportunities. And so we took that on monthly in the fall of 2016. And since then, in every one of our monthly meetings, we have presentation groups that kind of help us. We call them look groups that help us teach each other things we know we need to know. And we have used UDL approaches, and it's been highly successful with our own group in modeling together as colleagues. I just wanted to throw that out as maybe if folks are in a beginning place or even past the beginning place, to do a book study might be very helpful, and then try to practice those things in your own meetings.
Mm-hmm. That's a really great point. Both of the points that you've made, we've seen the number of our districts get a lot of buy-in and have some positive consensus building when they have used Katie's UDL Now book. For those of you that have had Katie or seen her, you obviously know how dynamic she is, but her book is so user-friendly that we've been able to use that even with some of our most some of our teachers that have the most challenging systems or schools. We've used that with our alternative ed groups with our county office, and the teachers there really appreciated the book and the resources and the opportunity to dialogue about it. And I love the idea that you mentioned too about modeling that in PD, modeling that in meetings. I think it's really a great way to get that buy-in, because that's definitely an important piece. I see a comment from Mary asking if we can add a column in the document for promising practices. Did you see that, Rhonda? Rhonda's all linked up with that. She's doing it right now as we speak. You can see it on your screen. Thanks for that suggestion, Mary. And then I just saw your chat, Pam, Pam said, when our first team returned from CAST training, we did a CNI book study of UDL Now. That's kind of what Erin was saying too. You're both in Fresno, right, Erin and Pam? Great, thank you. Other thoughts, ideas, things that worked really well right off the bat for some people that are more in the exploration phase, or challenges that you had that you didn't anticipate that you might still be in the midst of or that you overcame?
Okay. So this is Fresno again, Pam and Erin.
Hi.
Oh, hi. One of the very first things we did was we took our ELD anchor standards, and next to those anchor standards, we actually, part one, we actually put the 3 brains, because when students are collaborating, they are more engaged. So we put the engagement brain next to that band of anchor standards. And then next is the multiple means of representation. We put that next to this next chunk of standards, and that helped people start to make the connection between ELD standards, which they were already charged with implementing. That was part of our work in those districts. It started helping them make the connection that, oh, when students are interacting together, that is more engaging, so that could be considered an engagement strategy. So anyway, it was a small thing we did that just kind of started connecting those two, and we think it's been a good approach to help people see that it's not necessarily another thing, it's how we're achieving those goals we already have, especially for our English learners.
And that's a great point. And something I'll add on to that we've experienced here with the MTSS trainings is our colleagues involved in PBIS and social emotional learning, they've started to make some of those connections as well. So when they're thinking about how they're instructing teachers, when they're developing behavioral expectations or classroom matrices, or even when you're thinking about a restorative circle or restorative practices, UDL can be so much broader than just academic content instruction. So our colleagues have kind of started to see that overlap, which has been really powerful, because we can really talk about it being an instructional framework across academics, behavior, and social emotional learning. So I love that idea of anytime there's a connection you can make, whether it's the ELD standards or whatever it might be you're implementing, having those connections really helps, I think, reinforce this idea as, a positive instructional shift. Other thoughts or ideas? Thank you to those of you that are commenting on the Google Doc. Megan and Mary have been making some comments, so I'm glad that you can interact that way as well, as sort of a kind of a back channel here. Any other final comments about this aspect of our webinar?
This is Fred again from
Hi, Fred.
Hi. Hey, I also wanted to mention when I was doing my, before I found you guys, which led me to you was to find your UDL 101 trainings that you've been doing, and it really helps build like the structure for us so that we can see how you've evolved through your trainings, because according to either you or Rhonda, you've been doing these for a number of years, like 4 or 5 years now, right?
Yeah.
So knowing and seeing some of those examples, since we're kind of self-learners,
right,
and we will be self-learners, and that's fine, because that's a lot of the work we do is that like that. It was really great that you had the Google's 101 available or the UDL 101 available for us to
oh, great. Thank you, Fred. Fred's referring to a link I sent him, and we can actually put that in one of our shared documents, or shared as a resource for next time. One of the things that Rhonda and I have developed is a UDL 101 training, and next year we're going to be working on a UDL 202. But the UDL 101 is basically an overview training that we developed in collaboration with Katie and some of our other CAST collaborators, and we put together a Google site where basically every document we've referred to lives, the PowerPoints live, and anyone can have access to that. So that's definitely something that we can share next time if it's an interest, or we can just post a link to it so you can try and check it out. That made me think of something else, Fred, that I was going to mention that Rhonda and I are working on, but now I forgot. So hopefully I'll remember. Oh, okay, Rhonda just reminded me. For the pre-PLI that's coming for this summer, Rhonda and I are going to do a UDL TOT, sort of. So if you are going to go to that, awesome. Look at Rhonda's got you just created that slide right now, Rhonda. Rhonda just created the slide and put the flyer in it. So at the big PLI this summer, the first day is July 24th, right? That's a pre-conference day. We'll do a strand on UDL, and we'll kind of be sharing sort of our little toolkit of everything that we did in Orange County and that we've also got as resources from Katie. We can share that whole thing. So it's kind of like ideas like a sort of a TOT. So you could take all the resources we give, and you can go back to your site or district and start building consensus and sharing resources.
Yeah, I've registered for that. I'm really looking.
Oh, good. Yay, Fred. It's awesome. Let's go ahead and shift now to thinking about next steps for the last 15 minutes that we have together. Should we try your computer again with the, so I'm going to try and unmute. If you can't hear Rhonda or we can't hear you, we'll have to switch back to mine. But Rhonda's going to lead us through the conversation about next steps and how we can move forward as a group.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, so as we think about moving forward, let's begin to think about next meeting date. So I know that many of us are, on this frantic with supporting districts as they close out the school year. And so when Pam and I were thinking about this network, we were kind of thinking, would it be something beneficial to do maybe 3 meetings a year, maybe every 4 months, or even 4 meetings a year? And so that might put us into possibly September of 2018, and then we can design those meetings as we go. So I want you just to kind of take that think time about what are your thoughts around that? What would be beneficial for you to be able to continue with these network meetings? And then who might like to facilitate the next meeting or the meeting after that? And then also to be that note taker and to kind of create this or facilitate this process. And then also another question to ponder is, what about some specific topics? What are some things that we want to focus our next I just got off a planning call for that. And next, COE UDL network topic. What would you like to really focus in on to be able to support that conversation? So just a reminder, as we go into this shared folder, and then we do have the meeting roles and responsibilities. So if we go into that document, then you can see, we can kind of begin thinking about maybe somebody that is interested in being the facilitator for our second meeting would like to then go ahead and send out a doodle poll to be able to determine when we'd like to meet or some potential dates for that. What do we think? I'm going to open it up for any dialogue and just to share those thoughts around that. So go ahead, Fred.
Hi. Well, I'm very interested in helping out any way I can. I mean, I am kind of the beginner, so I don't have the background and expertise, but I do know how to ask a lot of questions, and I think that's what gets conversation started about, you know, what is working and our success stories. And I think getting back to how we engage teachers in this important work drives this all the work we're doing, because we can talk about it and sound so great, but unless it's actually happening in the classroom and we can reflect on that, you know, it's not going to go very far, I don't think. So my idea is knowing how is this you know, how does UDL changed instruction? How have teachers made the shift? And what is, you know, the time factor involved, 3 to 5 years, or is it a work in progress, or what? But those are the kind of questions I have, because really when it comes down to it, we come down to the you know, working directly with teachers, and we want to coach with them and partner with them and help them understand why this is the practice that means all, you know, that we really are looking at inclusive instruction in a different way.
Absolutely. Excellent point. So am I hearing, Fred, that you are interested in taking the lead for at least meeting number 2 and getting that decision around when that meeting will take place?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that.
And as Pam just mentioned, we are here, Pam and I are here to help and support in any way we can. So if you notice on this particular shared document, we have the list of all of the individuals that did express an interest in being part of this network. And so here we have all of their email addresses. So what are your thoughts around creating a doodle poll to determine when that next call would take place? What are your thoughts around that?
I think that's a great idea. And I think the doodle poll will, so we're looking at possibly September as being our first meeting together.
And that was what we were thinking too. And so if anybody else has a different thought, unless we want to do one earlier. So we're in April now. So I mean, maybe doing it before our schools really get in session might be a little bit more of a, I don't want to say relaxed time. Does that even exist? But I mean, it would be maybe a little bit less relaxed since our schools are not in session, maybe around early August or even late July.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Early August might be a good time because people are starting their PD at that time. So yeah, so I can send out the Google, the doodle, and plus it'll be right after the PLI, so that will be, you know, we still have people, you know, talking about it, right?
Yes, definitely. That's an excellent point. Okay. And so is anybody interested in, it doesn't have to be the same county office that we would be the responsible for being the note takers, just to kind of capture those thoughts. So is anybody interested in taking on that role? And Pam has volunteered if nobody else wants to, but we'll leave it open to that. We'll make sure
Fresno County can. If,
oh, great. Who is that?
Aaron. Fresno County can, Aaron and Pam, if the other Pam would like to take a break from note taker.
That'll be great. Okay, so I have you listed there. Did I do your acronym correct? It's FCSS, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Okay, excellent. So we will look forward to that doodle poll to determine our next meeting. Thank you, Fred, for taking that on. And then thank you, Fresno, for volunteering to be our note taker. I did notice in the chat box that we did have a question come up about the PLI, the Professional Learning Institute, and yes, this is open to everyone. There is a cost for this year. It is a very reduced price for any of our participants in cohort 1, 2, and 3 and KDS sites as well. And then county offices, we have a reduced price, if not even a zero price for some of our for our region leads and things like that. So you'd want to go ahead, and when you go on this link, so you'll see right there in the flyer, the link to the registration site is right there listed on this presentation, so you can access it there. Okay, and then Pam said she just linked the registration in the chat box, so you can go in there and access it that way. So this will be an excellent opportunity in addition to the pre-PLI that Pam mentioned where we're doing the UDL training. We have 2 more choices for that day, one being restorative practices and the other being social emotional learning. So there's 3 different choices. It's about a 3.5-hour session that'll be full of good focused information around one of those 3 areas. And then the other 2 days of the PLI will be excellent information to continue our implementation efforts and supporting our LEAs with MTSS. So it's very exciting as this grows. So I'm gonna check the, did you already link the? Yeah. And there, we do have a request to link the UDL 101 that Pam created in Orange County, so we'll go ahead and get that in there too. If not in the chat box, then it'll be right here in our shared folder that we all have access to. So any other additional closing thoughts for the good of the group before we bring this conversation to a close, or a pause actually?
I just want to say thank you very much for putting this together, and I'm looking forward to talking to Pam and Rhonda about the facilitation for the next meeting. So again, this is much needed in our area, and we're really appreciative.
And we are so happy to be able to join all of you in these efforts. This is exciting that we can all be a shared team as we move on forward, and just again share those best practices and how it's working, or maybe those, you know, we might want to be thinking about what are those obstacles that you're coming up against, and then maybe somebody else has a great solution to help us, you know, kind of do a little coaching conversation there to support us all in those efforts. So we too are very excited. And I'm going to mute, and then I'm going to let Pam finish us out.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. I did put the link to the Google site in the chat box. If you have any questions about that at all, please let me know. Fred, if you want that to be sort of a 5 to 10 minute chunk of our next webinar, I'm happy to walk people through that site and talk a little bit more about it with the context. So we are really excited to collaborate. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day, and hopefully we'll get to see some of you at some of the upcoming MTSS trainings or the PLI this summer. Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye-bye, all.